Star Wars did. It came out, it was something new, the story seemed a little sort of safe, but yet it was great character development, great storytelling, and its legacy carries on.
I have to disagree about Avatar. I didn't think it was a great story, but I think
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying it's a horrible story.
It captured... No, I'm saying it's not a great story, but I think it will be remembered in 50 years because it's captured a certain zeitgeist, and it was like how... I mean, the fact that you've got people who are going into machines to have experiences kind of like a reflection of the actual movie-making process itself and what's going on with people's consciousnesses here, with technology and so forth. So it kind of reflects a lot of what's in the minds of the people that go to see it. I mean, there has to be a reason why it made, $2 billion or something like that?
Yeah. And if there are still 3 or 4 people in this country that haven't seen Avatar, it's being reissued in theaters shortly. So you can see it on the screen again.
Well, and I think it's going to be remembered because of its overabundance. That's what I think it's going to be remembered for.
Making a lot of money.
Making a lot of money. The fact that Cameron hadn't made a film in many years, and they had been wanting to make this for years and years in the making. And when he made the movie, it's essentially a composition of the films he had done beforehand with special effects. And ironically, what I love about Cameron is that he makes movies with strong women as his heroine, and his ex-wife Bigelow, who did The Hurt Locker, does movies about the charged testosterone between men, such as.
Well, actually, the best movies he made were the ones that he made in association with Catherine. I mean, with not Catherine Bigelow, but the
Terminator.
Terminator. The woman who was the producer of that movie. Terminator I think was his best movie. Gail Hurd, right?
Gail Ann Hurd, yes.
Yeah.
What does Jim Cameron know that other filmmakers don't know? Why do people keep coming to his films over and over again? I'll just throw that out there.
I think he is visionary. There's no doubt about it.
He makes exciting movies. It's an experience.
Well, he knows how to make pre-movie buzz, too. I mean, remember Titanic? Everybody was looking forward to it because it was going to be the biggest bust since Waterworld or something like that. And then it just proved to be like positive publicity. And when the movie came out, it became, people said, well, it's not bad. And it's also cutting-edge technology, as you said. And, he knows how to build it up, and he knows how to cash in.
And yet, I've talked to many, not just you guys, but many critics that say his films do not have resonance in the long term.
The Terminator, the first Terminator and the Terminator series will definitely have resonance throughout time, without a doubt. I mean, think about the lines people spout from Schwarzenegger.
The governor of California.
Exactly.
Who would be governor of California if there was no Terminator?
Exactly.
Good question.
I actually like Aliens a lot. I think that's a great, and I think Ripley, although obviously she was introduced in the Ridley Scott Alien, but I think she was a landmark character in that she really was maybe the first heroine that I can think of, at least, where instead of sort of being proven wrong in the first one, by the second one, we know that she's right and all the guys that are surrounding her are wrong. And that I found really appealing. I also found the dialogue really appealing in Aliens. It's sort of a smart-ass, funny, the dialogue, which I find missing in a lot of his other movies. I'm not a big Cameron fan.
His dialogue is terrible.
Pardon?
His dialogue is terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
it's almost as bad as Lucas's.
Yeah.
Well, don't you know that Sarah Connor and Ripley were separated at birth?
Yeah. Really. But of course, and that kind of drove me crazy when, I don't know if it was David Fincher's doing, but I just hated Alien 3 for, we got to get rid of her. We don't want a really strong...
Let's shave everybody's head and have them sit around in folding chairs. That'll terrify people.
So much for the tough women.
Yeah. We got to get rid of her. Too dangerous.
I want to talk about the Twilight movies. This
Must
franchise
we really did this?
Many critics argue will not have resonance. We're talking about that.
I think it's a brilliant concept.
Yeah.
Obviously, the vampires are like the parallel celebrities themselves, and it's the reason why people love the vampires is because the vampires are the escape from our bland, everyday world. Present company excluded, obviously. And I think it really, like Avatar, and the figures don't disprove it. It captured a certain zeitgeist, not just in teenage girls, but also women over 30 and 40, the Twilight moms. I thought the first film worked really well. It almost had the sensibility of a silent movie with its regard for faces, These two people have really beautiful, luminous faces, and the acting, I mean, it wasn't so much dialogue as just expressions. I thought it worked really well. And then it sort of declined with each successive...
So this latest movie, Eclipse, is the worst Twilight movie in your opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps going more and more into the special effects.
And the books are worse and worse, too, because they got rid of the editor, and now she just writes what she wants, and the books are like endless and bad.
You know what they call the women that are in their 30s and 40s that love Twilight? They call them twigers, I think is the word.
Really?
There's a word for this. Yeah, it's something, a combination of the word Twilight and cougar. So, whatever the
what a concept.
I did not come up with it.
Well, there is a Desperate Housewives with vampires, isn't that? The Gates or something?
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed the first one too, but they are going down. I find the films incredibly chaste.
Well, that's the point.
I know that's the point, and it drives me crazy, and I'm surprised that it's building up such an audience. I thought they would want a hotter story going, but it's kind of cool.
Well, it's it's the anticipation.
I guess. I don't know what's coming. I didn't read the books.
The reason the first movie works is because it's all about discovery and I think like that initial emotion and finding and going into different worlds. Whereas once you've already gotten that, then they have to keep trumping it up with clans fighting clans and the special effects and everything.
It gets busy.
And it gets busy. And actually, the Eclipse one, it's a love triangle by that time between the guy who's 18 years old with the abs of like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was 30. There's so many scenes where the love triangle is so overt, like the three of them are sitting in a tent together or something like that, and she'll start making out with one guy while the other guy's sitting there
with his shirt
off with no emotion. It's silly.
They have a fire burning though, which is the emotion.
It's symbolized. But then the other guy will sit there and be like, I could respect you if I didn't hate you, and that's the kind of dialogue.
What great dialogue.
Well, he's making out with his girlfriend.
There's one good line. The thing with the vampire is that he's completely icy cold, which I don't see how that's a turn on, but for some reason it is. And the wolf, the werewolf, I hope I'm not giving away too much, is really hot-blooded, right? So there's a scene where the Wolfman guy says to the vampire guy, "Let's face it, I'm just hotter than you." I laughed. I don't know. Somebody woke me up and I laughed.
I've never heard you laugh at a movie.
Really?
Wow. Good for you.
That movie actually doesn't win for the most cliched platitudes in a film. Step Up 3D takes it 2-1, but they're still both pretty bad as far as the writing goes.
We work for a living.
Yes.
This man had to go see Step Up 3D.
You made me go.
I know.
Is it hard for you guys as critics to review a movie like Twilight that has so much hype? Do you ever get afraid that you're going to get sucked into the hype?
No, it's our job to be fresh and state our opinions.
I'm worried that somebody will burn my house down more than
I'm not. Yeah. If I hate a movie, I'll tell people that I hate a movie.
The hard thing is to resist going against the hype.
That's exactly.
If the movie is really hyped, there's going to be something wrong with it. Or if it's really hyped and you go see it and it's kind of not as good as you were told it was going to be, so you're kind of disappointed, so you maybe react more strongly against it. I think that's more of a problem than. If you've been doing this for 10 years or more, as everybody here has been doing, you're kind of oblivious to everything.
well, a movie like Eclipse, you've already got the other two films before it, like a Harry Potter film, so you kind of know the beast. But personally, if I was reviewing Eclipse, and I guess we're talking about it now, my expectation before seeing it would be one that I would be disappointed by it because I was now wowed by the other films. And in seeing it, it pretty much met my expectations, which is a shame too because Kristen Stewart really was a girl with some promise. She did Catch That Kid, which was sort of a Spy Kids sort of spoofy thing, and she was in Panic Room. I really thought to see more from her, but everything in those movies is you've got all this excitement with the vampires and werewolves in the room, but yet the acting, everybody just is emotionless, even though they're proclaiming their love left and right.
Woodenly.
Totally.
I think there's a phenomenon that the young actresses are really becoming a big deal. You mentioned Kristen Stewart, and Emma Watson is the highest paid actor or actress, and she got a haircut and she looks really nice. And even the girl in Kick-Ass, Chloe Moretz, she's making every major movie. She's making the remake of the Let Me